Hello, hello, hello. What's good? It's me, Shanita Jones, CPA. I'm coming to you from my next door neighbors in the state of Maryland. How are you feeling? If you can hear me and see me okay, let me know that you can hear me and see me okay because I want to talk to you today. Y'all know I only come to talk to you when I have something really good and really juicy and really interesting to say. And today I want to talk to you all about one of my favorite topics. It is about get into the bag, get into the money. I want to talk to you about increasing fees. So if you want to increase fees, do me a favor, give me some engagement. Let me get a thumbs up on a post. I'm going to go ahead and tag everyone. I haven't done it in a couple days. Make sure y'all know I still love y'all. And let's get into it. So let's talk about increasing fees. If you're catching this live, do me a favor and hashtag Team Live. Give me some thumbs up if we want to increase fees. If we don't want to increase fees, let me see a sad face. And if you catch this on a replay, I'll take a hashtag replay. So I know the message is messaging. So I do have a couple of notes. Thank you. I appreciate the thumbs up. And I want to talk about to increase fees or not to increase fees. And that is a very sensitive subject among many of us because there's a lot of opinions about increasing fees and how you're supposed to do it, if you're supposed to do it. And I want to talk to you about that today. And do me a favor in the comments, let me know what you do when it is time for you to increase fees. Throw a little title in there so everybody know what we're talking about. So before you increase fees, there are a few things that I suggest. There's a lot more, but these are the top 3 things that I suggest you consider before you actually open up your mouth and decide to increase these fees. The first thing that I want you to consider is how long have you been working with a particular client? Ironically enough, it is easier to increase fees if you've just started working with a client, or if you've been working with a client for a set amount of time, like a year, a quarter, or if you've been working with them for a very long time without an increase in fees. Now, if you're working with someone and the relationship has been going on for years and years, there's never any topics, any conversations about scope of work or anything, it can be different. So you want to think about how long have you been working with them? I see Cherie. Shout out to Cherie and all the other. I met Cherie in person the other night at dinner. It was so much fun. But shout out to Cherie and all the other accountants in my program, the Usual program. So if you had just started working with someone, maybe you did a cleanup job and you quoted them a price and then you told them what it was going to be going forward and you realized it's a lot more work than you had originally anticipated. That is a good time to increase fees because you had an opportunity to dig down deep, experience working with them, and you realize what you originally projected, oh, it just wasn't going to cut it. That is the perfect time to increase fees. Okay, it's a logical time. So if you've been working with them for a year, make sure this is all in your engagement letters, people. This is not legal advice. This is hustle mode advice. I'll tell you how to get to the bag, okay? Can't tell you how to keep you out of contract court. If you've been in business for a year or whatever, make sure it's in your engagement letter. When are you going to review billing and what can they do to make you increase billing? For example, in our engagement letters, we mention certain things. We might mention the amount of communications. We might mention if their revenue exceeds a certain amount. We might mention if they add so many bank accounts or so many employees. These are things that we might want to include because these are things that are going to increase not just the amount of work we need, but the level of skilled practitioner we need. And it's also going to, most importantly, increase the amount of value we are delivering. So make sure you have these things. Take some time and think about them. Talk about them below. What are your factors? Go ahead, count in the box. What are your factors? What can clients do to make you feel as though it is time for you to have an increase? And let's move on to number 2. Number 2, y'all want me to tell you how the second thing you should consider before you open your mouth and decide you want to increase these fees? You should think about, are they priced fairly already? Now, the word fair is very subjective. Now, fair is not you posted in the Facebook group and said, how much should I charge this person? And then you came back later and saw that some of the people said you should have charged 2, 3, 4, 5 times what you charged. That is not fair. When we talk about fair, we are talking about how much are you willing to accept in exchange for what you are giving to that client. So a lot of us get stuck in our heads and start thinking that we need to do increases and we underbilling and we undercharging. But remember, this is a individual journey. This is an individual walk. What is fair to you? What's fair to me may not be fair to you. I may be willing to accept a lower amount than you are. It doesn't mean that I'm better or you're better or I'm worse or you're worse. Think about what's fair to you and think about your inputs. And by inputs, I don't just mean time. Time is the last input that I'm talking about. I mean, what type of skill, what type of education are you putting in? What type of brain power? If you get done working about it, are you walking around thinking about it? Are you seeing, you pick up a piece of toast and you see their logo in the toast and it's a sign like how people be seeing religious people, religious people. What is your input? What's fair? And what are they getting out of it? How are you transforming their relationship and changing? What are they receiving? That's going to help you determine what is fair. Y'all want an example? Y'all accountants love examples. Y'all want an example? If y'all want an example, I give you an example. If you don't want an example, I'm gonna keep it moving. I got one more point before I tell you the things that you should be aware of. So here's an example for you. Since you want an example, an example is if I get my tax plan done and it's gonna save me $100,000, it's not fair for me to charge $500 for that because the value that I just gave them is way more than that. So it is fair, it is reasonable for me to charge them a higher amount of money because of what they're getting. Yes or yes? Y'all agree, right? Yes, you can't disagree with that. So, and number three, I want to ask you or encourage you before you increase the fee, also think about how has it been working with them? What is the relationship like? How much do they require from you? How much do you actually deliver to them? Just because they've been with you for a year, if their business went down, if their needs went down, if their demands went down, if they've become a better client, do you really need to increase them? Because the sad reality of the matter is a lot of people and a lot of programs and a lot of coaches I'm disagreeing with most of the gurus, they're going to tell you if you want to make more money, you need to go back and 10x everything. 10x, 10x. We obsessed with this 10x, right? You don't necessarily always have to try. You don't need to try to get rich off of one client. I didn't scale to seven figures off of one client. Okay. So the easiest client to get is the client that you still have. And the sad reality is that a lot of people are needing money. Things are getting more expensive. Business owners aren't buying as quickly as they used to. So each person, each opportunity that you get, you trying to get all you can get out of it, and that is a turnoff to some people because sometimes we go to increase fees and we're increasing too much too fast. People can deal with an increase, but they're not trying to be 10x, 4x, 5x over everything all the time and right away. So think about the level of increase. Think about, is this going to be a gradual increase? Was it something they told? Did you told them? Did you tell them you're here, but for what you need, we're going to get you here by this date? Or are you just going in 10x everything? And then you also want to think about their feelings. I know you're like, feelings, this business, ain't no place for feelings in business. But think about it. We get a lot of clients because accountants are learning that they're not charging enough. So once they come to that realization and they decide to do something about it and 10x everything, what happens is they start to get a bad taste in their mouth, and they get a bad taste in their mouth because, excuse me, because they feel as though you can flip the script on them overnight, and things that were included before, they're not necessarily included anymore. So they'll go pay another accountant even more money than they were going to pay for your increase just because that other person was straight up with them, just because that other person delivered it to them. So y'all want to consider this before you go increase fees in your accounting firm. And the third thing that I want you to consider is I want you to consider the risk. If you don't have clients, if you got one or two clients, and you know you and your family situation better than I will, ain't none of my business. But if you know you cannot afford to lose that client, you have no business 10x in that client before you replace another. Gurus come get me. Who gonna check me, boo? I don't care what you say. But how are you gonna have a bird in a hand? You ain't doing nothing to chase the bird in the bush, and you gonna risk that oatmeal that you have that's better than no meal. So consider the risk before you lead these clients. I'm not saying develop a scarcity mindset. I'm not telling you to have limiting beliefs. I'm telling you to use some damn common sense and stop listening to people that are not in the position that you are in. Stop listening to 6 and 7 figure people telling you to cut off your nose to spite your face so you could be another notch on their coaching belt. So you could be another person that if it works, they can say, oh, I helped Johnny Black. I helped Johnny Black and Mary Kay 20x their revenue. Well, what happens if Johnny Black and Mary Kay go to 10x their revenue and they lose it all and they don't have anybody else coming in? Well, brothers and sisters, this is why you have to have a lead machine. If you don't know where your lead is coming from, you are scared to increase fees in your accounting firm, and that is rightfully so. You got kids to feed, you got a wife to feed, you got a husband to feed, you got a mother, you got a kid in college, you got a retirement to think about, a mortgage to pay. I know Range Rover ain't trying to hear, oh, I increased all my client fees and I don't want to pay for my. No, they're coming to get it, right? Delmarva, I live in Delaware. Delmarva, they gonna take my utilities away from me if I don't pay them because I increased all my fees and lost all my money. I don't know. Maybe some of y'all can get by with y'all good looks, but I can't. I can't yet. So what I'm saying to you is you need to have a system in place where you will know that if I have to have a difficult conversation with a client about increasing their fees, it's okay because I'm going to have an opportunity to replace them. Or better yet, watch this. I'm going to replace them first so that regardless of who may come, regardless of who may go, I'm going to be okay. And that's what I need for y'all to do for me. I need you to get this system in place. Maybe you already know where you're getting the system from and you just ain't doing what you need to be doing. Please go do it. Or maybe you don't have a system in place. Or maybe the system that you have in place is not working like it should. Well, you should come talk to me. You should let me know below you were interested in finding out if my program is right for you. Now, my program is not right for everybody because we hustle hard. My clients, Cassandra and Andrew, they made $105,000 in revenue. This is new revenue since I think she said June 30th from hustling hard. And they didn't even do everything I asked them to do because they ain't ran a single Facebook ad yet. My client Rose, she started with me back in February. She has the last I talked to her back in May. I talked to her, but we don't even talk about getting clients anymore. We talk about getting more of larger clients and less of smaller clients. But she has added over 8 monthly accounting clients, over 20 something tax returns. She's charged for countless paid consultations. That's what we talk about. With my own firm, I have managed to do the same things over and over and over again. And quite honestly, I have a good time doing it because I've crafted it. I've been curating this process for like the last since 2018. I've been curating this process. So if you want to dominate, you want to be the go-to person in your niche, you want to have leads where you can make the tough decisions and not have to hold your breath being scared to check your email. Did they get the message? How are they going to respond? If that's what you want, you should holler at me. If you know that you know that you know you are not getting paid your work, you are not going to automatically start getting paid your work doing the same thing, getting different results. That's not going to happen. If you want to go somewhere you've never been before, you got to take a different route. Maybe this is the right for you. You don't know. That's why we need to talk. So if you want to talk, comment, let's talk below, and I will set up a time, or someone on my team will set up a time for us to talk below. So I'll see y'all later. I'm off to Dave and Buster's. Talk soon. Bye bye.